I left my heart in San Francisco, high on a hill. It calls to me to be where little cable cars climb halfway to the stars. The morning fog may chill the air. I don't care. My love waits there in San Francisco, above the blue and windy sea. When I come home to you, San Francisco, your golden sun will shine for me. Hey, everybody. Good evening. Hey, my love waits there in San Francisco, above the blue and windy sea. When I come home to you, San Francisco, your golden sun will shine for me. Okay, I left my heart in San Francisco. Tonight is this is the nosho. Hello, welcome to the nosho for Wednesday, the 10th of July, 2024, the year of our Lord. If you go for that sort of thing, there's my name. I am Ethan Hirschenfeld. I will be your host for the next several minutes of our lives. The No Show happens every night at 9 o'clock here on YouTube. Tonight is it's Scofflaw Wednesday, when I just throw caution to the wind or throw kasha to the wind. I know that that expression has been misheard in the past. Some people know that it's throwing caution to the wind, but other people have misheard that expression, and they think it's about throwing bulgur wheat into the wind, which is a gesture of, it says, non me ne frega, je m'en fous, I don't care, es ist mir wurscht, and you just throw kasha into the wind. So I'm throwing kasha, yes, I'm throwing ketchup, throwing ketchup to the wind and singing a song that is not public domain. And I'm going to sneeze. Throw a cheeseburger at the ceiling. Oh yeah, that reminds me. In the giant dining hall, I went to summer school in the summer of '85, and I saw that it was at a university, and I saw that the ceiling of this giant dining hall had butter patties stuck to the ceiling. You know, it was back in the day when they would serve you the butter on a little piece of like waxed paper with another thinner piece of paper on top. So you would peel back that top paper so you could spread the butter. Excuse me. So kids would take off the top one and then fling the patty of butter. They would fling the pad of butter up at the ceiling, like 30 feet up in the air to see if they could get it to stick. So I thought, oh, I'm going to try this. This looks like a good idea. So I peeled one and I flung it, and it just shot straight across the dining hall at someone. I don't think it hit anyone, as far as I remember. But oh, let me get the dog is trying to get a toy out of a bowl and it's making some noise. I left my heart in San Francisco, high on a hill. I just heard a friend talking about learning to drive a stick shift. He flew out to San Francisco and he had to buy a used car to make it up to Vancouver. And he bought a VW, but he didn't know how to drive a stick shift. So he had to learn how to drive a stick shift in San Francisco, which is a very hilly town, as we just learned in that song. And it was not in the greatest of shape, that car. So the ball on top of the stick for shifting was missing. So you can imagine, he was saying he learned how to drive, but his hand was just a mess. I left my heart in San Francisco. Yeah, learning how to drive a stick shift. You can imagine in San Francisco just rolling backwards down hills and getting into all kinds of trouble. I'm going to look up George Corey, who wrote that music to I Left My Heart. He lived from 1920 to 1978, an American pianist and composer whose most notable work was creating the music to the song I Left My Heart in San Francisco. George C. Corey Jr., no relation to Richard Corey. That's a great song. I know it from Simon and Garfunkel, but I believe it might predate them. Used to drive a split shift 18-wheeler. My gosh, wow. That's a lot of wheels. You know, if you do an activity for 18 minutes a day, that's 100 hours a year, apparently, if you do the math. I heard someone say that on social media, one of those videos where they just drop a little fact in your head. So George Corey, his partner Douglas Cross, that's who wrote the words to I Left My Heart in San Francisco. They wrote it in '53. Corey and Cross were amateur songwriters who had moved to New York following military service during World War II and had become homesick for the West Coast. After pitching the song unsuccessfully to other artists for about 8 years, so they pitched that song for 8 years, it was picked up by Ralph Sharon, Tony Bennett's musical director, who suggested to Bennett that it would be a good song for an upcoming 1962 Happy New Year engagement scheduled at the Fairmont Hotel in San Francisco. Can you imagine? These guys wrote this song and they were pitching it to singers and musical directors for 8 years. That's amazing. Mayor George Christopher and future Mayor George Aliotto were in attendance. Good response to the song. Bennett recorded it shortly after that, and released it in February of '62. It became an enduring hit. And in 1969, it was named the official song of San Francisco. The two authors were present at the meeting when the city's Board of Supervisors selected it by unanimous decision. Corey, who wrote the music, he was born in Syracuse, but grew up in San Francisco. Oh, and attended the Old Mill School in Mill Valley. When I worked at San Francisco Opera, I lived in Mill Valley. What beautiful place. Oh, and he went to Tamalpais High, Mount Tam. Mount Tam, that's where I lived when I was there that month. He enlisted in the service. He went to Berkeley, then he studied music at Berkeley, then went into the service in 42. He met Cross. Cross had been a baritone soloist for the San Francisco Opera Company in 41 when his career was interrupted by the war. Look at this. The two moved to Brooklyn together, mixed success. They wrote over 200 songs, only 30 were published. That sounds like a lot. And I Left My Heart in San Francisco was their only commercial success. The song provided them income for life when it became an international hit. Wow. In 2003, Corey and Cross received the Towering Song Award for the song, given by the Songwriters Hall of Fame. Tony Bennett received the Towering Performance Award for his trademark rendition of the song. Wow. Corey was found dead in his apartment April 11th, 1978, of what the New York Times reported to be a drug overdose. Oy. The Los Angeles Times reported that he left a handwritten note, but its contents were not revealed. He had been despondent in the previous weeks over failing health. According to the coroner's office, he was 57. His former partner, Douglas Cross, had died 3 years before him. Oy, oy, oy. These guys had that mega hit, one of the greatest songs ever. They met in the Army. What a story. I feel like that should be a movie. Oh, you sang this song? You sang it in C? What key is this in? Oh, this looks like it's got one sharp. So is that the key of G? I think it is. Yeah. Write a Christmas song, you'll get money every year. Hey, McJet, how you doing? That's a good idea. Um, um, you know the guy Clausewitz, who was that, was he a German general, the guy who writes about warfare? A friend of mine was texting me about Clausewitz, and I thought Santa Clausewitz. That would be a good character, Santa Clausewitz. So he's like a student and a philosopher of war and strategy, but he's also Santa. Maybe not, but maybe there's a song in there. Okay, I'm going to say hello to everybody. Good evening. I am Ethan Hirschenfeld. This is the No Show for Wednesday, July 10th, 2024. Don't forget, our mockumentary is screening. Today is Now. We'll be screening on Wednesday, August 7th at the NYC Festival of Cinema in Queens, New York, Queens County, New York, 3:30 p.m. So check out the NYC Festival of Cinema. Happy Guitar Night. Are ukuleles allowed? Sure. Hello, Richard. Hello, Nuro. Hello, McJet. Hello, Mom. Hello, Dave in LA. Yes, Z in Hawaii. Sparafucile, Rigoletto. Yeah, there's no aria to speak of for Sparafucile to sing, but that was one of my favorite roles, the assassin in Rigoletto. I got to do that in a few different theaters. That's a fun part. I'm catching up on the chat. Oh, you drove a Miata for 10 years. I was just telling my neighbors, I saw this car the other day in Manhattan I had never seen before, and I thought I misread it, but the font was really tiny. The car was tiny. It's a tiny little, it looks like an Italian convertible, a tiny little thing. Looks like a little, kind of look like an Alfa Romeo, or kind of look like a Miata, but much smaller. If you can picture a Miata, but much smaller with a hard top. And I was circling the block trying to find a parking spot, which I never found. So I kept seeing this car parked on the corner, and I got close enough I said, I think it's called a cappuccino, but that can't be right. So I looked and looked, and then I Googled it. Sure enough, there is a car It was made by Suzuki. It looks like an Italian convertible, but it's the size of a toy, but it's an actual car. And it's called the Suzuki Cappuccino. And the Cappuccino was only made for a few years in the late 90s. I had never seen it, never heard talk of it, never heard tell of it, but it's a thing. I don't think I would fit in it. It looks like something you would have bought at a toy store, but pretty cute and easy parking in New York. Will it be streaming anywhere soon? Yes. Will it be streaming? Jill, thank you for asking. Yes. Today is now. Will be streaming somewhere near you soon. I will keep you posted. I don't know exactly what we're going to do with it after it screens at the festival, but we were waiting to decide until we heard back from festivals. And now that we have this one screening, and hopefully we'll have some more when we hear back from the other festivals. The key of Z. That sounds like a good key. Oh, you looked up Z. You looked up the cappuccino. Yeah, it's like a go-kart. That's exactly right. A little thing. All right, there we are. Whew. Let me see, what else am I singing on this Scofflaw Wednesday? I don't know. It suddenly opens up a whole nother universe of... Oh, I have to do an audition. I got to get ready for this. Tomorrow I have an audition for a TV show in which they want an Iranian accent, a Persian accent. So this character in the audition scene, he only has a handful of lines, not particularly long. And I've known a bunch of people from Iran in my life, and so there's one particular vowel that's just beautiful the way they say it, which is the ah vowel. They say it kind of aw, like eton, aw. The ah becomes kind of an aw. Paul. I can't think of an example, but in any case, I got a couple of friends who are from Iran to record the lines for me so I can study them tonight for my audition. So that's one. It's for one of those procedural, those TV shows that are about cops and robbers. It's one of those procedural ones. And then I got another one for another procedural, an audition for Law and Order. I went to see a friend in a play I told you the other day, my friend who was terrific in that, Molly Sweeney at the Irish Rep. And I noticed in his biography, in the playbill, he said, when he was listing his TV credits, he said, Law and Order, not all forms or all types or all varieties, but all in any case, he was indicating that he had been on all of them. So that's like a New York thing for New York actors, even New York theater actors. If they've done some screen, they've done Law and Order. Law and Order has been around so long, and there are so many versions of it. And I just thought it was interesting the way he listed it. He didn't list them one by one. He just said, I've been in all the kinds of Law and Order. There's SVU, there's Richard. No, not a thug. Not a thug. It's actually quite a tender, sensitive scene for this Iranian guy. So Law and Order, an FBI audition. That's what it is tomorrow, for a show called FBI, and then a Law and Order audition on Friday, and then due next week an audition for a mafioso. And I think my character's name is Alan. Now, in my family, my middle name is Samuel. In my family, there are many people named Sam, and there are many people named Alan. In the older generation, it seemed like everybody was named Alan, or you might be named Sam. Like they had a very short list of names to choose from. So this would be the first time I would play a character named Alan. And I think Alan, if I'm not mistaken, from what I saw from the script. Oh, your ex is Alan. Okay. I'm sorry to bring that up, Kathy. Although this is Alan with an A, not with a double L-E. Um, so I believe in this script, if I'm not mistaken, the interesting concept in this script is that the mob boss might be a kid, like a little kid who, through circumstances, the kid is found employment, let's say, in organized crime. Anyway, it looks fun. It looks fun. I left my heart in San Francisco, high on a hill. She calls to me. There's a nice song. Nah. I did not swim today. I swam just like 20 strokes. I just had a dip. I decided a day off after after swallowing all that air. I think also orthopedically. You know, anyone will tell you, anyone who's a good trainer, anyone who's a serious, 273 push-ups, exactly. No, anyone who I think who's an endurance athlete will probably tell you that the rest is very important. So like you'll train one day, rest the next day. And also the other thing that they will tell you, and I remember this from the few times I did long events in my life, like a marathon, the training is basically do a normal workout, like a normal length, 5 days a week or whatever, several days a week, and then one long workout on the weekend. So once a week you do a long workout, and the length of that long workout gradually gets longer as you're approaching the date of the big event. And then after the long event, the next day you do nothing. You just eat a tub of ice cream or whatever you want to do, so you can recover. And so only once a week are you kind of pushing it and going long. So my plan here of like training for this Swim for Life butterfly by doing my longest swim every day is not supported by science or experience. There's no data to support that. It's just a convenient way to build up to something. Oh my gosh, a mosquito. Oh, this is a fun song. Nah, I'm having a lot of second thoughts today about the songs. That was that one, It's Later Than You Think. That's a Carpe Diem song. It's a fun one, but I don't feel like doing it again. Downtown, that's a fun song. This is a good one. Let's do this one. Missed the Saturday dance. Heard they crowded the floor. Couldn't bear it without you. Don't get around much anymore. Thought I'd visit the club. Got as far as the door. They'd have asked me about you. Don't get around much anymore. Darling, I guess my mind's more at ease. But nevertheless, wait, is that the right chord? But nevertheless, why stir up memories? Been invited on dates. Might have gone Might have gone, but what for? Awfully different without you. Don't get around much anymore. Oh man, that mosquito was just digging into my elbow. Ho! Yeah, that mosquito was sharp, Richard. Miss the Saturday dance. Boom, 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 boom. Heard they crowded the floor. Couldn't bear it without you. Don't get around much anymore. Thought I'd visit the club. Got as far as the door. They'd have asked me about you, and I wouldn't want to talk about you because I guess you dumped me. I think that's what's happening. Don't get around much anymore. Darling, I guess my mind's more at ease. Well, that's what's happening on that chord. My apologies. My apologies to you. My apologies to the ghost of Duke Ellington and Bob Russell for I was playing a false chord there. I was playing a G minor 7 instead of a G major 7. Let's try that again. Don't get around much anymore. Darling, I guess my mind's more at ease. But nevertheless, that's what they're saying the chord is. I don't like it, but why stir up memories? Been invited on dates. Don't, don't. Might have gone, but what for? Awfully different without you. Don't get around much anymore. All right, that's Duke Ellington and Bob Russell. Yes, Z. I like the way you put that. The mosquito got right to the bone. Yeah, the mosquito was right on my lateral epicondyle. That little protrusion on the outside of your elbow. Now, why do I know that that thing is called the lateral epicondyle? Because on this, I had a wicked case of tennis elbow about 20 years ago. And that's what it's called, lateral epicondylitis, a swelling of the lateral epicondyle, or something like that. Anyhow, I hope the mosquito enjoyed that. Duke Ellington and Bob Russell don't get around much anymore. I'm going to look up Bob Russell because I don't know anything about Bob Russell. Darling, I guess. I had a joke about a tennis elbow, that it's the most patrician sounding ailment. It really sounds like a kind of snobby medical complaint, tennis elbow. Not as snobby as yacht foot. Yacht foot. I have tennis elbow and I also have a case of yacht foot. I'm going to repeat that punchline 7 times because it gets funnier with each time. Yacht foot. Also polo neck, from on your horse. I guess polo neck, that's also a kind of sweater. Thank you. A phlebotomist, that's right. They're phlebotomists. That's it, neurogeezer, yacht foot. That's my joke about tennis elbow. Thank you, Blue Lady. We got some smiles for that joke. I like that joke. I never told it until tonight. Oh, right. Bob Russell. Let's see what is his deal? Who was Bob Russell? Bob Russell. Bob Russell Ministries. That's not him. That is not he. Bob Russell, songwriter, born in Passaic, New Jersey. He lived from 1914 to 1970. Lyricist, mainly a lyricist. Bob Russell was born Sidney Keith Rosenthal. Bob Russell, Sidney Keith Rosenthal. By the way, Rosenthal in German, Tal is a Thal, that's a valley. So Rosenthal is a beautiful name. It means a valley of roses. He attended Washington University in St. Louis, worked as an advertising copywriter. His roommate was Sidney Sheldon, later a novelist. Holy smokes. He turned to writing material for vaudeville, then for film studios, and ultimately writing the scores for 2 movies, Jack and the Beanstalk and Reach for Glory. By the way, thank you, Wikipedia, for all this interesting information that I'm sharing. Reach for Glory won the Locarno International Film Festival Prize in '62. Okay, so in '68, along with Quincy Jones, he was nominated for an Academy Award for the Best Original Score for the song "The Eyes of Love" from the film Banning. Among his collaborators were Duke Ellington. I don't know the other people. There it is. In 1970, he was inducted into the Songwriters Hall of Fame. He passed away in 1970 from lymphoma in Beverly Hills. Well, lymphoma is a bummer, but Beverly Hills is nice. So if you got to die from lymphoma, Beverly Hills, not a bad place. He was survived by his wife, Hannah Russell, who was the sister of songwriter Bud Green. So it was a songwriting family. Bill Russell. Yeah, I was thinking about the Bill Russell connection. No, this is Bob Russell, also known as Sidney Keith Rosenthal. Yes, Z. I know that cheese, and that's funny, and I'm a fan. Good one. Okay. Wait, who's from Passaic? Did someone say they're from Passaic? Oh, your dad worked in Passaic. Look at that. A rising tide lifts all yachts. All right. Thank you, everybody, for your eyes and your ears and your attention this evening. I'll be here at 9 always, every night at 9 always. When the things you've planned need a helping hand, I'll be here at 9 always, always. Days may not be fair always, that's why I'll be here always. Not just for an hour, not just for a day, not just for a year, but always, always, always. Every night at 9, the nosho, right here on YouTube. Brought to you by no one. It's not brought to you by anybody, just by me. Yes, I'm going to keep those skeeters off my you-know-whats. Oh, I'm going to share a joke with you today before I go. So I posted it, but then we took it down off of TikTok and off of YouTube because I thought it was low-hanging fruit. It was low-hanging comedy fruit. Here's what it was. It was just a shot of a yoga ball. I'm now the happy owner of a yoga ball. And I said, the yoga ball is one of the most common and also least frequently used bits of yoga equipment. Many, many people have a yoga ball, but most people do not use the yoga ball. And then I went on to say that I once had a pretty bad case of chronic yoga balls, which is what happens when you wear yoga pants too many days in a row in the summer. Low-hanging comedy fruit. That's why I took it down. Yes, yoga balls, yacht foot, golfer's wrist, tennis elbow. There it is. Thank you very much. Thank you, Dave in LA. Thank you, Z in Hawaii. Thank you, everybody here on the mainland and wherever you are. Equestrian malaise. Yes. Okay, everybody, I appreciate your attention and thank you for tuning in, and I will see you tomorrow night. Sleep well.